This is the third season of ranked speedrunning, so I figured I'd record my first couple of matches in case anything interesting happened, which it did. Our first seed, we start off with a shipwreck. Cool, right? Except the chest is entirely buried by stone and gravel, so the filter apparently didn't catch that, and we both agreed to reset the seed. The second seed is also a shipwreck that also is entirely buried by stone and gravel. So we switched to the third seed. Now, you actually can't switch more than like 3 times, so thank goodness this is a desert temple seed. Not a chance for the chest to be covered in stone. And I actually hear lava as I'm blowing up the temple, so I'm like, oh, this is great. I can just enter down here. But the TNT blows up and I'm just in the lava. So we reset again for the 4th time, and we can't do it again. So if this seed is terrible, we just have to play it. Funny enough, it's another shipwreck seed, so I loot it, I enter the Bastion, I'm doing pretty well. But I get a couple aggro piglins on me, and as I go to build up to the chalice, I run out of blocks at the worst possible moment.
There's no way.
Instinctually, I go to ask for a seed change. I mean, it's not a guarantee they would also agree to change the seed, but just maybe I could get rid of this tragic death. But we have reset enough seeds, I just can't do that anymore. So thankfully, the reset world option is still available, and now I have 3 minutes to catch up on this guy. Dude, it's bad. Like, I know that this guy has been looting the shipwrecks faster than me. I think except for this seed. This was like the first seed that I actually got to the ship quicker. And I'm not sure if that's because I have my settings changed differently. Regardless, I still think there's a chance we can pull this off. There's a couple advantages we do have from dying. Like, I know exactly where the enter's gonna be. I know everything that I need to craft. Although that's not really an issue. Like, when you're looting all of your things, you should know what you're going to craft. I think my crafting here is pretty solid. I actually recently increased my sensitivity like 2 days ago or something. So it all just feels slightly speedier. I've upped my sensitivity a couple times over the past year, and every time I've done it, I've really liked it. I go back to Minecraft, and it's insane to watch my crafting. I feel like a wizard. I also know to get more leaves this time around because I ran out as I was bridging up. I just got hit by a piglin at the worst possible moment, so I fell straight into the lava lake. I got a couple more blocks this time. We have about a stack, and I'm off to the magma ravine. So I break my boat, and I dig down. I know that on the 5th gravel that I break, I get the flint. Since rates are standardized, I break the one under my door perfectly in time to get my flint, so that felt kind of cool. And now we build a 2x1, which is a little bit awkward because I'm using leaves and wood, so I mess up my door placement here ever so slightly. So I get a little bit confused. I didn't mess it up the first time I played around the seed, but all that means is I have to replace my door placement so I can reach the lava. It was a bit of a problem because I kind of turned like where I would normally reach the lava into obsidian, so I just like kind of denied myself. But we enter the Nether. It's 5 minutes, and the Blazer 97 is still in the Bastion, as you can see in the top right. So I'm feeling pretty good. I know to use my leaves slightly less on this Nether train. I spammed a few too many last time. Definitely could have conserved some. And this run is also nice because I didn't get 2 skeletons shooting me down right here. So last run, I had to kill 2 skeletons before I could do this little speed bridge into boat off over here. So as I'm building up to the Bastion, or running over to it, I did want to mention one thing. So I made a video yesterday, or 2 days ago, something like that, the last video on this channel, about building. And in it, dude, my commentary, I go watch that back, and I saw a couple comments on it. I say like so often when I am not very precise and like, oh, I did it again. When I'm not thinking about my commentary a ton, oh, this is kind of interesting. I have to like freaking parkour this guy out. When I'm not very conscious of how I'm speaking, I say like all over the place. I've probably said it a couple times during this video. I don't think it's necessarily bad. A video is meant for entertainment, so if it's entertaining at the end of the day, that serves its purpose, right? But I am gonna try to be very conscious of saying like in this video, because I think it's good to not have filler words. I say like in between sentences when I'm thinking of what next to say, and in commentaries like this, it's the perfect environment for like to sprout up everywhere. And I think when you don't have those filler words, it makes you sound, or it just gives off a different vibe to the way you speak. It's more confident. Like if you're, oh my gosh, I said it again. If you're giving a presentation or a speech in class, eliminating ums or likes in your speech, even if every other word is exactly the same, I think it makes a big difference on the way people view you. I think it gives it more credibility. And same with being able to have pauses in between each sentences. I think that also gives credibility to it because you know what you need to say and you're not necessarily spamming out words, which I feel like I'm kind of doing right now, to just keep on speaking. I don't know. Commentating is kind of a weird process. I think I've been doing this Nether very well in the top right. The Blazer 97 is still in the Bastion, so he either died as well or is having a very hard time finding the fortress. And my movement is feeling so good. I can't tell you how amazing it felt to increase my sensitivity. Yes, I'm slightly less accurate, but I think accuracy will come with time. But every other aspect, it just literally is faster. It probably sounds kind of dumb, but like my crafting feels way less stressed. Stressed isn't the right word. Let's use strained. It feels less strained. I had a pretty low sense, and maybe still do relatively, especially when I started speedrunning. Oh my gosh, my sensitivity was lower than basically everybody. So I've upped it literally 3 times. But I make that point because I was always on the very edge of my reach, like on the edges of my mouse pad to really get the crafting off. And not literally on the edges of my mouse pad, but like to the edges of what's comfortable. And now that it's increased it, for like the first time, it's felt natural to craft. And part of it's probably because I recently went through the change, and I'll definitely like get used to it to some extent, and maybe my crafting will slow down. But right now, it feels just really fun. I did hit a zombie piglin, which is a bit unfortunate. I think I took a couple of hearts of damage, which wouldn't be a huge deal, but I only have 2 pieces of bread, so I kind of have to play this smart. If I run into a wither skeleton that hits me a little bit, it's not going to be a great scenario. And at this point, you'll see in the top right, the Blazer still hasn't found the fortress. So I'm ahead by pace, but I don't notice it because my mind is just on, like, I need to play this fortress out really smart. I'm trying to catch up still. So I spot 2 spawners right here, which is good. And I'm trying to decide which one I should blow up with a bed. Well, not like blow up the spawner. You guys know what I mean. Like blow up the space around so more blazes can spawn. And I don't like this one over here because there's some lava around. There's a whole bunch of basalt, and I don't think the blaze bed is going to be as good. So I decide to go back. I see this stray though. I'm like, okay, I should probably get the stray before I go back to the other spawner. And these skeletons start trolling me a bit. I also get another spawn at the spawner, so I'm like, okay, I gotta get this before I leave. Now I'm up to 3 rods, and I take some high terrain to hopefully avoid these skeletons, which kind of works. One of the skeletons shot the other, so I think they're in some sort of duel right now. But there is a third one that's shooting me between my little barriers. So I do 1 crit above, hit his feet, and he's dead. I think I'm all situated with the skeletons. I might have to kill the survivor of that duel later at some point. But I pull off a very fluid-feeling blaze bed. Not the fastest you'll ever see, but felt very smooth, I guess. Which, whenever you get a smooth bit of gameplay in your speedrun, I feel like for me, it gives a boost of confidence. And I know I said I feel like it gives for me, but I think that was a worthy use of the word like. And I have gone back and rewatched some of my other voice lines, and I've said like when I haven't even noticed it. Sorry, I'm on a tangent of saying like. What was I saying? Yeah, if you have a smooth bit of gameplay in your speedrun, just the confidence that it gives you, I think is valuable. I think to myself, wow, I'm playing good. Let's crank out these other things. So I gotta crank out my portal now because I got all 6 blaze rods, and I've been practicing my portals, not necessarily this portal, but I've been practicing portals a lot recently. It's kind of hard to explain. But when you build a freestanding portal on like flat terrain, I've had so much fun just mechanically placing those blocks. I know it's a little thing, and there isn't an example in this video, so sorry about that. But I did get a new zoom macro, which I think looks better. That's actually the first time I've seen it in action on the recording. It looks slightly different on my screen, but I use a technique called boat eye where you like get into a boat to position your Minecraft character at more accurate angles. So you only have to throw 1 eye vendor to locate where the stronghold is. And there's a whole bunch of math behind it. This guy named Ninja Brain is basically a wizard. There's this document to explain all of the math behind the calculator that most speedrunners use for finding a stronghold. And it looks like a PhD thesis. It's insane. There's deltas, there's sine, there's cosine, there's giant squiggly things. The lines of math are 10 pages long. I don't know exactly how long they are, but one equation looks like a paragraph, and that's how you know there's some legit math being worked behind the scenes. And it probably wouldn't have to be that intensive for throwing like 2 eyes of Ender, but throwing 1 eye is just insane tech. So I found that very cool. I looked at the document again a couple days ago and thought it was cool. So now we're in the Stronghold at 12 minutes, which minus 3 minutes to death. It's really a 9 flat Stronghold, so pretty good pace. This would be able to PB if it was a random seed, which is kind of funny. I've been doing some RSG offline. I actually made an Twitch account. So I have 2 Twitch accounts now, and one of them is just for no mic speedrunning, which has been kind of cool. I made it for this like online tracker system called Paceman. If you type in paceman.gg into Google right now, it's this really cool website where it will show speedrunners like good pace at any given moment. So say there's somebody doing random speedruns and they enter the Nether in 2 minutes at pretty solid pace. They'll appear on this tracker, but as soon as they're just resetting on the wall, it won't show them. And so you get to see this list of all of these cool splits that are going on in real time. Like this person is entering the Nether right now. They're on a blind PB right now. Maybe they're in the end about to do a cool 0 cycle. It'll tell you that information. And all you have to do is click on their little name and you go to their stream, which I thought was such a cool idea. So I made an alt Twitch account to just open whenever I'm doing runs, because I do a lot of runs behind the scenes, but now I'm on Paceman. So if I get on pace, I'll just pop up and people can watch it. So yesterday, for example, it was the first time I was on Paceman. I got on pace. I entered the Stronghold in, I don't know, maybe under 9 minutes or something. It was a 9-minute end enter. And 50 people showed up to my stream and just were in chat watching when I had like literally 2 viewers or 1 viewer. Now I didn't know this because I didn't have chat open, but I think the idea behind it is really cool. Okay, back to the speedrun. I went for a 0 cycle. It was a really hard 0 cycle, tower 103, which is the tallest tower, and I just didn't have a good enough pearl, so I bailed out, and now we're just doing a bit of half bow, which is my favorite consistent way of killing the dragon, because like shooting down all the crystals, the more crystals that you shoot down, the higher chance you have that the dragon will perch. So if you're doing an all advancement speedrun, where it doesn't really matter if you beat the dragon in 1 minute or 2 minutes because the speedrun is 4 hours long. This strategy is super nice because it works every single time. There's less risk, and it's really fun to practice your aim with the crossbow. And there's skill to a half bow too. The quicker you can shoot down all the crystals, the better. So in this end, I actually got pretty good RNG because normally you don't shoot down the crystals, but the direction I pearled had both caged towers right next to me. So I thought to myself, let's just shoot these guys down and we have an even better chance. I think it's around this point that I look up in the top right and see that the Blazer is still in the Bastion. So the Blazer, I hope you didn't have a mental tragedy where like, it can just be so bad sometimes. You die, you go back to the Bastion, you try to get your stuff, you die again, you go back again, you keep dying, and it just puts you in a terrible mental state. So I hope that wasn't the case. Let's just assume that the Blazer's internet went out or something. Actually, if that happened, I think he would have forfeit the match. So I don't really know what happened to the Blazer. I think he's also a Spanish speaker. I'm pretty sure I saw his stream on Twitch today, so he probably wouldn't even understand this video. And I'm having a lot of fun with the Paceman thing. So if you're watching this video right now and you want to see a speedrun in real time that's happening right now that's on good pace, type in paceman.gg into Google and check it out. Maybe I'm on pace. I don't really know. I'll probably do some more speedruns on that alt Twitch account.